The Oracle Network. The Oracle Network. Look deeper.
This is Dos Pequeños,
A funnier look at the paranormal in New Mexico.
with your co-ghosts, Eric Carter Landine.
And Alex.
What is up, Alex?
Hey, Eric. How you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm good. I am excited about this episode. I learned a lot. I don't know if you learned anything on yours, but I learned some on mine. Did you learn anything?
A couple of things.
Today's episode is brought to you by the letter A.
A.
For Apple.
Ah. What type of shit is that?
It's Sesame Street. That's what we're doing.
And the number 14.
Oh, we're in a weird space today. Sorry about that. We just got out of a really cool interview. You'll hear some of that on this episode. But before that, I want to tell you a story, Alex.
Tell me.
All right. So if you ask any Burqueño to name a haunted place in the city, you're going to hear a list of several things. You'll probably hear the Chemo Theater. You're going to hear Wool Warehouse. You might hear Hotel Park Central or Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
But one we're going to talk about today is the Albuquerque Press Club. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of this. I've actually been there.
I've been there too a couple times.
No, I've been there before just for a party.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun.
I was there for a wedding and I want to go back. I think maybe we should join as members for Dos Pequeños so that we can go and see if we see any ghosts there.
I want to see something.
Okay. I think it's only like $40 a year, so it's not that bad.
To become a member?
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. You pay like a $5 fee.
Okay.
So I think we should do that. Anyway, I'm talking about the Press Club. So this building has a long, rich history to it. And if you've seen it from the outside, it looks like a log cabin.
I have seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Which is really weird. It's not something you would expect to see in the heart of the city.
It's very Evil Dead-ish looking.
It is. It's a little bit like Let's Write Out the Zombie Apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
It is located at 201 Highland Park Circle, which is in East Downtown Albuquerque. And the Press Club is situated on top of a hill just above a city park. It also faces Interstate 25 and currently operates as a members-only club. And this is just a little description from the Press Club website. The Albuquerque Press Club is member-owned with both professional press and social non-press memberships. A private club with disparate membership and a great spirit. A place to meet new friends or hang out with old ones. Located in one of Albuquerque's most historic buildings, an affiliate of the National Press Club with reciprocity agreements with other press clubs. Cool. So if we join, we can go see other press clubs.
So they really do embrace the idea of ghosts, it sounds like.
Maybe. Yeah. I think that's part of the history of this building. And we'll find out more about it here in a minute. But it sounds like they have opened their arms to that kind of experience, I guess.
Okay.
So, before we get too much into what the Press Club is, take a little look at the history.
What it isn't.
It's not a strip club.
It's not a grocery store.
It's not a library.
It's not, guys. If you expect to go there and get a good book to read for the weekend, you're not going to find it. Wait, do they have a gift shop? Maybe they do have books.
I don't know if they have a gift shop. Not what it isn't, but let's look at its history. So I'm going to fuck up this pronunciation.
The Wu-Tang.
The Wu-Tang Clan?
The Wu-Tang.
Whittlesey?
Oh, how did he say that?
Whittlesey? Whittlesey.
Whittlesey.
Okay.
Just mumble it.
You guys, I'm going to fuck this up. I'm sorry. So the Whittlesey House was built in 1902 by architect Charles Frederick W. How about that? Charles was born in...
How about that?
I'm just going to say W now.
W.
Charles was born in Alton, Illinois in 1867. He had a long and successful career as an architect and even had his own firm in Chicago. By the age of 33, he was the chief architect for the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway.
Ah.
Yeah. He designed many rail stations as well as hotels along the railway. He even designed the El Tovar Hotel, also known as the Harvey House, which just sits feet away from the rim of the Grand Canyon. He designed the old Alvarado Hotel in downtown Albuquerque, which has been bulldozed, but replaced by a look-alike train station, which is built in its place.
Okay, yeah.
So that's on First and Central.
Yeah.
Yeah. The W house stands out in the neighborhood because it's a log fucking cabin.
Yeah, it looks a little different than the rest of the houses around it.
Yeah, East Downtown Albuquerque is well known for its quaint Victorian homes built at the turn of the century, and the charm of the neighborhood is that Victorian vibe. But the W house looks just like a rustic Norwegian-style cabin that belongs near a fjord in Norway.
A little out of place.
Rather than the middle of a bustling metropolis in the heart of the desert.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so that's my poetic... My attempt at poetic writing.
Wax poetic.
The Press Club website describes the house as a 3-story frame structure designed after a Norwegian villa, low-pitched roofs with exposed log fronting, rough log-cut facades, and a wide porch, which surrounds its eastern rooms, characterizing the house. However, when the home was built, it was the only structure in the area. Albuquerque really hadn't spread to this part of the city yet, and so from the house you could see the Sandias very clearly, and from the west side of the house you could see the volcanoes without any obstruction. So there were no skyscrapers. I mean, skyscraper is a strong word, but there were no tall buildings.
Large buildings.
Downtown. And many of the houses really weren't in East Downtown yet anyway. So
it's 3 stories?
Yeah.
Really? I don't even remember being on one floor, I feel like.
Yeah, so when you enter... Like, when you walk through the main entrance, you're actually entering into the top floor.
Oh, okay.
And then if you look, like, on the back side of it, you can see all 3 stories. And the way that it's built, it's really weird because it is 3 stories, but... it can sometimes feel like 9 stories because there's so many weird... Yeah, there's so many weird hallways and staircases, like half staircases. So there's like a random room.
Half staircases? You mean like to a half floor?
Yeah, so like there would be like a random room just built in the middle.
Okay.
In between 2 floors maybe. So there's a lot of levels and there's a lot of weird halls and things like that that make this house unique.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the area around the house really started to grow, including the construction of the nearby Albuquerque Sanitarium.
Oh, I feel like I've heard of that.
New Mexico became well known around the country for the dry air and moderate climate, which was allegedly beneficial, to people who were struggling with tuberculosis in the 1900s.
Allegedly.
Right. I think we later found out that it was detrimental.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The elevation didn't help.
Well, shit.
This led many people to relocate to New Mexico by the thousands in order to improve their overall health and help in the treatment of TB. The sanitarium would treat some of the most ill patients in Albuquerque, and this also led to many nurses and doctors moving to the area to treat all of these patients that were coming from everywhere. One such nurse was a woman who is now fondly known as Mrs. M. So the house changed hands many times over the next 18 years until it was sold in 1920 to a man named Arthur B. Hall. Arthur was courting a young nurse who told him that if he bought her the log cabin that she passed on her way to work every day, she would marry him. And this was after multiple attempts of him proposing to her and her telling him no. I mean, you have to admire him. He was pretty persistent, right?
Yeah. I mean, he had his own dowry, basically.
I mean, but maybe like nowadays
if you marry me, you get a house.
Nowadays that could be considered like sexual harassment, right? Because she said no. So, like, if she said no, then maybe you should just leave her alone.
But he was like, what is it going to take? What is it? Well, buy me that house.
Yeah, but
I bet she was like, oh, he's never going to be able to buy me a house. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, here's your house. And well, shit.
There you go. So she was in love with the house.
He was a sugar daddy.
Not so much in love with him as she was with the house. And so I think maybe she wanted to marry the house instead.
It's a cool house.
Yeah, it's a nice house. Especially for 1920, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's exactly what he did. He bought the house and she became Clifford Hall. Oh, yeah, her name's Clifford.
Clifford, the big red.
Cliffy. I mean,
Cliff.
I've never heard that used.
I'm not being disrespectful. Sorry.
Sorry, Mrs. M.
Yes, I'm not being disrespectful.
I've never used that I've never known of that as a woman's name, Clifford.
It has to be a family name, right?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it was like, we're going to have a son and his name's going to be Clifford. And then they had a daughter like, well,
I'm not changing it now.
Her name's Clifford. That's what's
I'm not
happening.
changing it now.
So Clifford Hall. And she loved the house so much. She kept it true to the original owner's style of Native American art and textiles. And she owned the house even after her divorce to Arthur in 1930.
So they were married for about a decade.
Yeah. Well, it didn't say when they got married, so it could have
okay.
been like 8 years or something.
Oh, that's true.
So she remarried. She married a man named Herbert McCollum
Herbs.
in 1935, which is why she is now called Mrs. M. But that marriage also ended in divorce 3 years later in 1938.
Oof.
And so in order to generate some income, Mrs. M sectioned off the house and created apartments, which she rented out.
Okay.
And she also converted the old stables from the original owners into apartments.
So she hasn't been very lucky in love.
Yeah, I think she liked the house more than she liked her husband's.
Well, like I said, it's a cool house.
Yeah, and her husbands were probably douches.
Well, I mean, that's speculation, right? Maybe they were super great guys and she was the douche.
I don't know. I like her. I don't even know her, but I like her.
I don't either, you know.
So as time passed, Mrs. M spent her time and money making improvements to the home that she loved dearly. And in his book, New Mexico Ghost Stories, Volume 1, Antonio Garcez says, the Highland Park log house was a showplace in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Clifford McCollum spent a great deal of her time, money, and energy maintaining the house and its surroundings. She opened her home to many people, among them William Lovelace, which if you live in New Mexico, that might sound familiar to you. We have Lovelace hospitals here, who brought his international guests to view the house. The Mayo brothers, whose clinic is known worldwide, were frequent visitors.
The Mayo Clinic?
Yeah. William Kelleher, Clyde Tingley, and Clinton Anderson. There's like motorcycle racing happening on my block for some reason.
Edit.
It's really weird, right?
Yeah, and it's weird how I could... It
weird
picks
hearing
it through here.
It picks it up, yeah.
Because I bet if we didn't have these on, we wouldn't hear it at all.
Right. I don't know who Clinton Anderson is, so forgive me. Many other friends and visitors came to the house. So a lot of people going in and out, sounds like. Well-known house in the city. Maybe famous is the right word for that.
Somewhat famous.
It couldn't hurt that all these medical people were coming in, and we have the TB hospital and eventual mental health hospital right next door.
Right.
So it's clear that Mrs. M loved the house dearly. She worked hard for most of her life to keep it updated and maintained. And she finally sold the home in 1960 to a local fraternity. And then it was sold again in 1973 to the press club.
Okay.
So it seems quite possible that the reason the building is said to be haunted is because her love for it carried on beyond the grave.
Okay.
Mrs. M passed away in 1977 due to complications from cancer.
77.
Yeah. So she lived a good 40 years in the house, but she must have been...
How old was she?
I think she was in her 70s.
Okay.
That's a pretty good age at that time.
Yeah.
So the thought is that she really couldn't let go of her love for the house. So her soul's forever imprinted in the walls.
Did she pass away at the house?
She did not.
Okay, so she was in a hospital or something, maybe? Was she at the memorial?
Oh, maybe. Maybe. I don't know where she died.
Okay.
But I know that she sold the house in 1960. So my guess is, and this is speculation, but my guess is that she probably was getting ill and old, and her family probably wanted her to get some care.
Did they put her in an old person's home?
That's my guess.
Yeah.
My guess is that probably she was resistant to that.
I think most people would be.
Yeah. This is all made up in my head, you guys. So don't take it as word because I honestly don't know.
Yeah. We and let's make that clear. We don't know what we're talking about. Ever. I don't know.
Who are you? Why are you in my house?
I can't remember.
Get out.
I don't know.
Okay, so one account in Garcez's one account in Garcez's book is of an employee working at the press club in the mid-90s. She had been warned about the building being haunted, so she was a little bit nervous. She described the building as having really too many hallways and staircases, and that it would be easy to get lost or turned around because the property is like a maze.
See, that's weird to me because I remember being there, and vaguely, it's been a long time since I was there, but I don't remember it being that large of a property to the point of like, where am I? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, it's probably been a good 20 years since I've been there.
We also don't know how much of this is in the back of house either, you know?
That's true.
So...
That's true.
Yeah.
I've never worked there.
Right.
I've never had access to all the behind the scenes stuff.
So according to her, it is like a maze.
Okay.
So one night after closing, she was talking with the president of the club, and she saw a woman in black at the other side of the bar staring at her. She was startled, but the woman just disappeared as quickly as she appeared.
Like Johnny